Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Is it on? Testing. Do you hear me? Hello. Hi. Hello. Okay. Hello. Hi. Welcome to Painting Through Video. Really excited to be here with you. My name is Wyona Tourmaline. I use they, them pronouns.
And I'm Arvid Tomayko. I also use they, them pronouns.
Together, our collaborative project, Innerworkings, has the opportunity to be installed at MotionWorks Gallery at Provincetown Community Television throughout the month of August and into the first part of the month of September. Thank you so much for hosting us, PTV. It has been a great honor. And thank you for hosting our 2-part workshop series. So, today we have Painting Through Video, which is the first part where we're learning to create layered videos and use video as a creative medium, where we're thinking about how we can bring textures from a multitude of different environments and composite images to very rich layered images. So thanks for joining us, and I'm really excited to show you a little bit about our work. And here, one moment. Great. My name is Wyona Tourmaline. Again, I'm an interdisciplinary artist, and I use wearable fabric sculpture that I transform with dance and movement. And I'm using video and the body as a site for transformation, and thinking about what happens when we're altering the body, when we're altering landscape, what happens when the body dissolves or multiplies or changes in form, and how are we questioning the physical world in that process. I'm interested in our somatic experience and our embodiment and how we change timelines and queer timelines in different ways. How can we manipulate space and our own bodies through different stories that we're telling, and whether that's about our environments, about our relationships with our bodies, and especially looking at unknown things, unknown materials, I have a BFA in Fine Arts from Carnegie Mellon University, and I've taught workshops and developed my work through residencies, galleries, theaters, universities, and art organizations from around the country. Arvid and I have been working together since 2014, and through different projects, residencies, performances, exhibitions, and different periods of experimentation comes our current project, Innerworkings, which came to be in 2022, and is the current form of our long-running collaborative process. Together, we're in residence at Provincetown Community Television at MotionWorks Gallery. And this is a video of our installation, which is open this Friday. It's open tomorrow, 5 to 9 p.m. And it's open next Friday, which is September 4th, 5 to 9 p.m. and September 11th, 5 to 9 p.m. So, yeah, at the center of Innerworkings is an interest in the often unseen, deep inner workings of the psyche, and the question of how something internal and something that may be intensely felt but difficult to see or describe might be given physical, tangible, spatial, or physical form. We're working across performance, moving image, inflatables, projection mapping, sculpture, wearable objects, sound, and layered green screen collage. We're especially interested in the meeting point between the physical and the ephemeral, and finding how we can make these physical forms speak to the concepts that we're exploring with the work. So, yeah, thanks for hearing a little bit about our work. I'm really grateful that you would like to join our process. I'd like to make one more note about invisible infrastructures. In this project, we're really interested in looking at where the human body is oftentimes exists in systems and becomes invisible in the process in different ways. And we're interested in how this exists in all of the infrastructures that are either apparent or not so apparent. And those are constantly emerging, and we mean all of the different layers of that. Like, you know, for instance, I'm really curious about, like, do we mean AI? Maybe. Do we mean the water that AI is using? Maybe. Are we referring to data centers? Possibly. Possibly, maybe. and yes, it's with interest because we understand, I think, you know, just collectively, curiosity and interest can push mountains in different ways. So remaining curious, friends, and feel free to drop. We're going to be the best we can about comments, but we're going to get to them at the end. Or like more towards the end. So first to give you an overview, we're going to show you the work of two different artists very briefly, and then we're going to get right into DaVinci Resolve. I wanted to invite everyone, if you'd like to follow along with the workshop and use the tools alongside us, please, if you haven't already downloaded the free version of DaVinci Resolve, feel free to do that. And yeah, so feel free to download DaVinci Resolve. 21 is the current version, and at the end we'll go through VN. Just, I wanted to make sure, since DaVinci Resolve does not currently have a mobile phone option, I wanted to bring that option on the table. So yeah, take a moment to download that, and during that download, I'm going to bring up a couple of artists and their work, and two of these artists. Please excuse my pronunciation. I will do the best I can. Pipilotti Rist. This is Pixel Forest. So we're looking at documentation from Rist's Pixel Forest, which is an exhibition at the New Museum in New York City. And I'm really interested in how this artist is using projection on surfaces to make color, light, playing with scale, and creating a really otherworldly atmosphere, and completely changing the architecture and immersing the viewer in a really otherworldly experience. This artist, Riest, is moving beyond screen and really bringing the work into the space in a very immersive and innovative way. And I wanted to bring this work to the group today so that people could envision all of the different ways that this practice can land, and that projection can be used on different surfaces. I really love this installation, and it reminds me of a collaboration that Innerworkings did with artist Jay Critchley in Provincetown last summer at the Cold Warmth, where we projected videos of from clips of Supermarket Sweep and other edited collages onto the backs of a number of people wearing white shirts. So anyway, yeah, so please take this moment to really just imagine what could you do by observing textures around you, by observing more closely the world around you, and bringing these observations and these actions to recreating space around you and creating a world that you want to exist in. Yeah, which is, I would say, the entire reason I like leading workshops, is to help bring people to places where they can feel more in control in creating the world that they want to live in. So next, we're looking at work by Laurie Anderson and Sean Chun Hung. Excuse my pronunciation. We're looking at The Moon, which is a VR experience, and which is very, it's in the same vein as video. So what's happening is you're leaving the Earth here and you're on your way to the moon. You're traveling through space and you're making your way towards the moon. So the two of us have actually gotten to experience this installation in person. And I know for my own work, it has been a really incredible experience, and very has changed the work I make and that I want to make and that I can envision myself making in this world. So Yeah. So we have The Chalk Room by Laurie Anderson, which is a really incredible installation as well that is also on view at Mass MoCA. So in this is a video of a VR experience. Now you find yourself in this universe where you're able to control yourself through space, and it's very incredible and very cool. And there's a lot of like this world that is created around you has a lot of depth to it. It has you're seeing this text, you're seeing these images, and although this is a faster video, you get to guide yourself through the experience, and you can take a lot of time, and it creates a really like contemplative experience, and like it creates a sensory experience where you can really feel undisturbed by the world, and it's really special. So I just thought I would show you this work as interesting aspirational works, although these aren't all video works. But now I'd like to show you a timeline that the two of us put together on DaVinci Resolve to give you some ideas. So next, what we're up to here is to show you an example that's already made, to show you where we're going with with the video project, and then we can make one together live. So as you're seeing here, there's a performer. You see hands and textiles on the surface of textures below, some transparent layers, and there's a lot of different information on the screen moving simultaneously. Some of it's creating color, some of it's creating shape, and the green screen layer is on top of all of the green, like the performance for green screen is on top of all of these other layers of video. And that is a very interesting way to work in terms of or like it's something that I continue to find satisfying in this process, is something that's like this live collage process. I'm so sorry. Here, one second. Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
So this is a performance happening over top of these images, and it's just so there we have it. So now let's open our let's reopen DaVinci Resolve, and here let's actually become yes. Okay, great. So here we are. Let's we're gonna open DaVinci Resolve with you. so that we can go through making a project together. So we have our videos all organized here that we're going to use in a folder. And first we're going to open the app, DaVinci Resolve, software, app, new project. Let's open a new project. And yeah, we're going to keep that location. And okay, so yeah, first, really basic stuff. This is, first we want to open up this middle part that I'm over top of here that says edit. And so, just to orient you here, we've got the playhead on the timeline. This timeline is, left is in the beginning, and as you go further to the right, time goes further into the length of time. And as you add more layers on top of the layer that we're currently on, you make a deeper and more layered piece. So I can show you what I mean in a minute here. And the layer on top is the layer that you see more of. So what we're going to do is build textures from the bottom up, and then use green screen on top. So I guess first we're going to bring clips into our media pool. And oh yeah, so you want to, it's just asking if we want to change the timeline to match the frame rate of the videos, and yes, I want to. In this instance, sometimes I'm sure you want to have your own frame rate, but well, just to give you one more overview, right in the middle here is the viewer, and over here is the inspector. Over here you can change most things about the video clip. So first we're going to start building up our textures. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to I'm going to make a new layer for each of these clips, which is going to be sort of like it's a bit of a sculptural way to work, but I think it's fun, and I think that we're going to do some nice experimentation. So we're sort of just setting up, let's say, this painting first. So Okay. So I have, and then, so basically what I've done here is I have selected a lot of textures, and stacked them on top of one another. And I chose to do that because I've got an idea of how, I'm going to keep this a little bit more kind of clean and clear of what my original vision is. And now I'm going to put the green screen right on top. And okay, so what happened was ahead of time I shot a video of myself doing a performance in front of a green screen with gloves. And although you don't need a green screen, you really don't need a green screen at all. Green is a good color to use when you're when you're subtracting the color. In using the green screen, you can use any color of screen that you'd like. And so in order to make the magic happen with the green screen, first you go to effects, and then you go to the resolve effect, and then you type in key, and you take the 3D keyer and drop it on the green screen to make the effect happen. And which is really nice because this is an AI tool. I just also want to mention that AI comes in a lot of different forms and is used in video editing. And now we want to use the Open FX overlay. And draw an area out. And once you kind of guide out what you want to subtract from the video, then you can make some adjustments of the chroma tolerance and what you'd like to be, what of the image you'd like to keep and what you'd like to take away. So and a lot of this has to do with how the green interacted with this, for instance, this quartz ball. So yeah. So you can do some adjustments in the inspector. And yeah, so now let's go. So we can see how this plays over top of these different layers. However, yeah, so next let's have some fun with the different layers we have here. So let's go. First, I'd like to take this and create a situation where it fills up the entire layer and reverse it and keep the forward and do it backwards. So we'll start by duplicating and then changing the speed, the clip speed, and then reversing the speed. So you change the clip, and then you select both of the clips and you copy them, and then you paste them in the timeline. And you can get a bigger group at a time, and okay, great. So we've gone a little bit further than the duration of the performance, but I was interested in keeping that as our underneath layer so that we have this really nice kind of opalescent hue behind everything. And so over here we have this I'm seeing these two right now, and I'm just going to take them and make this a bit of a reductive process there. And then I'd like to take this video and do a really similar thing to the first one and just copy it, change the speed, so that, and then go to change clip setting and reverse speed. It's nice to see it happen again. And then so copy both clips, and then so you want to move the playhead to the end of the clip, because wherever the playhead is where the clip will paste. You also want to make sure which layer you're in, because that is where the clip will paste. So this is all, I want to show you a little bit more about what this is shaping up to look like. Well, this is a fun part of the process to be in, because now we're able to start seeing some images. So I want to get into doing some compositing and changing the color on these layers. So as you can see, color is another one of the options you have there, but first we want to composite the image so that it mixes with the first layer. And there are different options that you can use to do the compositing, and you find that in your inspector where the video icon is, and you go down to composite, and then so we can just use the opacity to do the compositing, or we can you can pick different kind of textures to do that. And I feel like I'm inclined to pick color burn on this one, because so for instance, you're seeing the sheep behind here. So I wanted to just show you what this is, to show you why we're building this collage and like why we're making these layers. And there's a lot happening here that is, I just didn't want it to feel too random, and so that you could understand why we're creating this kind of like layered cake of video, and what kind of things you can uncover in the process just by letting yourself explore how these textures look together. So it's sort of, I mean, it's a nice surprise. So I'm going to take each of these and make these all color burn, because I do really like how that looks. But the only thing is that I'm going to change. I'm going later on, after I do some more of this, I'm probably going to change the color in some of these layers, because I want some of them to, like, I want to push some back, and I want to, it's kind of, I'm setting up a situation where I can push and pull a little bit more. So with this sheep clip, I'm interested in slowing it way down. So first I'm going to select the clip, and then I'm going to go to change the speed. Oh, okay. So, right. Actually, so it's a slightly different control than the other one. It's so you're retiming the clip instead. So when you look at that, I'm going to take this woods clip, and I am going to bring the opacity way down on it, like way down. And sometimes, sometimes I'm like, yeah, a clip doesn't really belong there, or it doesn't fit. I'm actually thinking about retiming this woods clip as well. So I think I'm just finding that I'm going to retime them all to be about the same length as, I'm going to start clipping things down to all be the same length as the green screen performance. So that's about, I think, 7 minutes, or yeah. And you can see that right here it says 08. So yeah, this is about 7 minutes there. So yeah. So next, I want to start playing with the color on this layer. And there are a number of different ways that you can change the color. You're able to use the lift. You're able to, so the lift creates a situation where you are impacting the shadows in the darker areas. So, I mean, in this color wheel version of lift, you're able to, impact the darker areas. In gamma, you're looking to change the midtones, and in gain, you're looking at changing the highlights in the brighter areas. So, decidedly, this layer is very green in this moment. So yeah, this is where we really get into the painting with video. And yeah, so sometimes after after working with an image for a bit, I'll, I kind of look at the final outcome and I'm like, do I like the changes that I've made here? Like, what do I think about this all? And sometimes I do, and sometimes a different direction is good to go. So, and you can, what's really nice is you can, I love that in DaVinci Resolve, you can, once you're in the color mode, you can just click to a different one of your clips and you can start working with, the midtones or the shadows right now I'm working into the sheep layer, which is interesting because you might not be able to tell that it's really much of a sheep layer anymore. And in this like snowy woods layer, I'm curious what kind of ways we could bend the world here and create something very different. And in the background, I'm working with the furthest image in the background and changing some of the color on there. So now let's go back to our editing. One thing that we can also do, for instance, is things can look really different depending on how we decide to composite the image. So if we pick hue, all of a sudden we've got a pretty different collage going on. For instance, if we want to, if we wanted to put something out of view, like the snow layer, we can use different key commands. We can use key command D to make the snow layer invisible, or we could make other layers invisible. For instance, like, I'm really curious, like, what's making this image so dark? I have a feeling it's probably actually this frog texture here, and it is. So it seems like it's actually because of the color burn on this one. So for instance, if I wanted to change the entire image, maybe I would do something like, strangely enough, by picking darker color, which is just a different version of a composite mode, you're able to get a lighter color. Then, I've noticed that color burn creates like a high vibrance image, but sometimes can create a really dark image. But there are a lot of different options. And yeah, so I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick this one. And for instance, you might find yourself saying, well, I'm not entirely satisfied with how this looks yet. Maybe I want to work with the color a little bit more. So now we have a really different image. So we can go back to edit, and this entire layer has been impacted. But what hasn't been impacted is this is the only one that doesn't have color burn. For instance, this is the first chunk is selected here. The first clip is selected, and now I could choose something. I can choose, well, I kind of like that. There are so many cool versions and options that you can explore here in this in this format of collage making. So, just for experimentation, I'm going to take both of these, and I'd like to just stretch them out. So I'm going to change the speed, I guess. Yeah, do a retiming again, and I can dive a little bit deeper and get more play more with different options as we work. So then there's this one too. I'm also going to I'll just take that one and copy it and do a reversal of that one. And then, so I'm going to copy both of them. Oh, first change this. Reverse the speed and then copy both of them, and move the playhead to the end there, and then paste, and then paste. And that brings us almost to the end of the timeline. I can just delete those guys. And for instance, if I wanted to impact this entire line, oops, I need to move my playhead on here, which if I wanted to impact that entire timeline and do, maybe I can see how the different compositing works just from impacting that one layer. So there are so many options. I'm thinking about going for, I think I'm going to go for pin light. And we can also impact all of, well, of course we can impact the color of this clip. And there are a few different ways to impact color. So for instance, more of like a curves, which is more flexible in some ways, and like less controllable in others. So then I'm going to go back to editing, and I'm going to take this layer, and I'm interested in bringing the opacity down a little bit so that I can see the layer that I just was working with a bit more. And I'm going to investigate some different ways to do compositing here. Okay, I'm gonna pick that for now, and I'm going to bring the opacity down even further. Okay, I think that this is kind of a nice mix there. And some of these images, that's actually invisible right now, but I'm going to use D because I actually liked that one invisible, and I'm going to keep that one invisible as well. So I press D back on that one. I'm curious what happens if I take the frog layer out. Anyway, so there's a lot of exploration one can do with this process in terms of layers. But now I want to get after we've almost jumped ahead by building out a timeline like this to begin with. And so I think it's pretty exciting we've built this timeline, and now I'd like us to do a bit of like taking away. So a reductive process. And again, why I'm interested in framing this in a physical medium framework is like how do we think about video as more of the tangible medium that it is in so many ways, and that has been. So since I'm not, I'm just going to take these two. I'm going to take video 5 and 6 away. I'm just going to delete those tracks because I've got them invisible anyway. I'm not really using them. And now I kind of want to go back and edit. I think I'm going to edit the frog texture and just do a little bit of selecting, trimming, splitting video, and moving, and just to so here we've got the cut tool. Up here we've got the razor blade, or you can do key commands as well. So I'm going to cut the video right about there, and I'm making a second cut, and then I'd like to delete in the middle there. So I'd like to edit the edges so that it's not too abrupt of a cut. And you can just bring the edges in a little bit so that it's a little bit of a softer edit, and there's a fade between the shots. Okay, so yeah, I'm really liking how this is looking, and I'd like to cut some more of the frog out here. I think I'm gonna cut right about here. Sometimes I just like to move the playhead with that. I'm gonna take a fair amount of the frog out there. And then the frog can come back later, and then I'm going to go and soften the edges of the frog. And I'm going to I'd like to trim everything along the edge there, so I can just move or use snapping also to have videos snap against each other's edges, and you can easily shorten video clips that way. So yeah, so as we were talking about earlier, to talk a little bit, I guess, about like conceptually the idea of time in a practice and time-based medium, we're able to really change and subvert ideas of time here by creating these kind of these strange loops and textures that start and stop and create these kind of timeless moving collages that are always slightly different, and playing with concepts of chance, because as you've seen, there have been so many different images that have emerged from these videos just by manipulating different parts of the layers. So I think one thing that has gone a little bit unchanged since has been the sheep. So I'm going to change the sheep image a little bit here, bring a little bit of pop, a little bit of bright colors there. Hard mix oftentimes does bring a really high level of saturation to a video, which can be nice depending on what you're going for. And then, so we'll go back to, go over to color, and so we're manipulating the layer of the sheep right now. So it's, yeah, I think what I want to do here actually is I want to, I'm going to go back into our editing, and I'm going to zoom into the sheep image a little bit. So I'd like, and I think that's a great thing to do right now. Maybe we could, yeah, so you can see those sheep coming closer. And so I'd love to go into, you can see just by, yeah, so zooming in further, looks like this, and you can kind of just click and drag either way depending on how far you want to zoom. And as you can see, you can really start seeing the sheep faces there. So I'm going to leave, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave those sheep. And yeah, so with this video, although there is a sequence, it's very, as I was talking about the concept of queering the timeline, I mean it, and I think that by creating, by doing experiments and creating a situation where there's a lot of room for chance to create new images, and uncover new things, I think that it's just a really interesting and fun place to create from. So I hope that people have gotten a lot out of this demonstration. I guess I want to go over the idea about composition a little bit here and say that there is a composition happening here, and some of it was there's some of it was planned and some of it was really unplanned, and so now we're just going to kind of enjoy this for a moment. And it's, look at our moving image collage with all of these layers that we're seeing in different ways. I think it was really helpful to go through and composite each different layer and move colors and change speeds, and cut videos out of certain places that just weren't working. And these are intuitive things when I know that I'm talking to some artists, I'm talking to artists, painters, printmakers in this group, and I'm really excited about how we can use compositions to a video to make gestures but also create atmosphere. I think that by working in this way, it does feel very adjacent to queerness and queer identities, in the way that by making. But I think by taking the space to create work that's taking chances and asking questions, we're making more space for each other. So I'm interested in practices where by taking space, we're creating space. And just to kind of go through what some of this what this composition looks like, I really appreciate the different speeds at which these videos are going. I think it creates delicious and interesting textures, whether it's the speed of the water and the slow moving forest or the sheep. It recontextualizes a lot of the images, and by creating these translucent materials, and by also, I think it's a nice, it brings a nice contrast by bringing the body into this. I'm interested in asking, how does the body exist in the world, and how wild is this world that we co-create with? And I'd also like to ask you, as the creator, how can you use grass as a line in your video, in your composition? How does a hand become a landscape? How does a hair become a fiber? How is water? How does water interact with light and create new meaning? I'd actually like to go back to the. I'm going to revisit our frog for a moment, our frog layer here, and I'd like to, I think I might just go to color and the frog layer here. And I want to make sure that I'm impacting all of the frog clips at the same time. So I'm going to make sure that they're all selected. Oh, I actually just need to interact with them separately here. So I'm really interested in bringing the saturation really up on with these frogs. So yeah, so I'm going to just use the saturation. That was my main thought with those frogs. I was just like, hey, looks, I was looking at the water and I was like, I think we could use so much more saturation to bring the color. And but I think that the compositing here really might just, there's something about having it exist in a little bit of softness, and having that be what creates. I'm having trouble. I'm forgetting which one I was on before. Here we go. Yeah, this is great. So, yeah. And I think I actually want to get into the frog image and zoom in a little bit more on that frog as well. So, and that's a great opportunity for everyone to revisit Zoom. So we're going back into the, the inspector to zoom way in there. And I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. And in fact, you can kind of reposition the entire image on the screen, and we can see what that's like. Then it becomes, then there becomes a crop. We could even, oh, yep, there we go. Yeah, I'm liking how the water in the background is interacting a lot there. So, yeah, I'm really grateful and glad to get to look at recontextualizing these images together. And we're really kind of cutting a form away from its original background to reframe relationships using opacity, crop, position, and scale, to build a new visual world by, again, recontextualizing the images. So I think that, so I'm really interested to open this up to questions. I see in the chat that there has been a question about the artist in the beginning, and the artist's name is Pipilotti Rist. And that will go in the chat there. So I'm also curious. I'm curious if people have questions. I absolutely am excited to continue watching this video with everyone and manipulating parts of it. Like, as I'm watching this, I think that the green screen layer could have a little bit of color correction on it, could have a little bit of little bit more saturation, maybe maybe like boost some of the shadows, and it's one of those things where you can please play with the controls and see what works. Unexpected things can come out in terms of color, in terms of white balance. If you're looking for more, of just depending on what you're looking for. I personally really do like a warm light on fabric, and sometimes I don't mind if the color balance is if the color balance is even a little bit off, and sometimes it's necessary to find a more balance, a stronger balance on lighter colors. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about about these editing tools? In a minute, I'd like to go over VN, but that's kind of let's keep watching this for a moment, and yeah, I just want to linger on this for a moment, and invite any questions about this process. Now we're about to go into editing editing on VN, which can be downloaded as an app on your phone. We wanted to make sure to give options and make sure that people felt like they had access to video editing. I think it's worth saying that although CapCut is available and a lot of people use it, there are a lot of really good reasons not to use CapCut, and one of those reasons is that you lose a lot of rights to the videos that you're editing. So we wanted to bring in VN because it is, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I'm grateful that this is bringing good stuff your way, Sandra Rose Hart. Okay, so let's get into VN. This is a free subscription. This is another software, again, I was just mentioning about for your phone. So very simple. You can create a new project here, and okay, so let's bring in the same. Yeah. Okay. So, let's import some more videos. And we can focus on using ones. All right, and as we're building these, I'd love to get into the opacity so that we can see that. One moment. So with Okay, great, great, great. Okay, great, great. So here we go. We got some blending on the side here, as you can see, and we've got opacity right on the side here. We can bring the opacity around. And then we can go down to the bottom layer where our snowy bank lies underneath. And or we're gonna bring that back on top. And so we're gonna use fit so that, and you can see that the compositing is all stacked on the side here. So as you're clicked on a layer, then you can go to the sidebar on the right, and you can change the opacity. This has sort of like a tintype look when you're using difference here, so I'm pretty interested in that. Also exclusion, and then these are just different rules with color that are applied in the video. So we can see that this creates a pretty interesting video. And in this video, we're like, it's really like this feeling of looking across time and space in a way that is unusual and a bit strange in many ways, where you might ask yourself, where are we? And yeah, and then you come out on the other side here. So I'm going to decide to trim the edge of this, the end of that video, so that it ends in this kind of immersive, otherworldly place. I'm going to put another layer on this, just to expand and see what happens. But I think I think that because this is so dark, I think it'll be interesting to experiment with blending in a way that's more subtractive, and I think so something really different happens to this image, and what we're seeing and what we're experiencing and how it's making us feel when we bring fire into the image. There is movement from different time periods. Also, I'm wondering, how would it feel if we slowed down the video clips, because as there are multiple layers moving, sometimes speed can be a really interesting component. So as you can see, the controls on the right hand side are where you also find speed here, and by changing the speed, you also have very different outcomes of when the videos intersect, and it completely changes the outcome of the image that you're seeing with the different compositing of the layers. So these videos were taken in very different environments, and by bringing them together in this video, I think that there's a certain transformation that happens with them, and new stories can be told and new meanings can be made, and it's really just, there's a lot that's in the eye of the beholder, especially when the artist is experimenting with elements of chance and moving image. And I know that my individual practice as an artist is impacted by all of those things, but I cannot. I also want to mention that that has grown in my collaboration with Arvid Tomayko, and I'd like to also talk a little bit about our workshop coming up next week. So we've got
yeah, next week we are
yeah.
teaching another workshop called Sculpting with Light.
So in that workshop, I'll be supporting Arvid, and
I'll be teaching about how to transform sculpture in space with moving image. And that'll be a lot about how to create image for projection in a space, and how to do some projection mapping, especially on especially on the some of the inflatable sculptures that we have here in the space.
So this image, or the work that we did here today, is something that informs that can inform your practice going forward as an artist, as a maker, as someone who envisions and creates. Next week, we're going to have both a live YouTube workshop, and also we will have a in-person workshop available. So that's in Provincetown at Provincetown Community Television from 5 to 7, and we invite people to do studio experimentation with both of us from 7 to 8. And we'll be teaching several different ways of doing things, because I think that there is truly no better way than learning many different ways of doing things, because there is no best way of doing things. So I really invite you to take what you've learned here today, and if you do have questions, now is a wonderful time for you to bring them. We set time aside just to answer questions if we can, but we wanted to make sure you know about the workshop next week by having these editing skills under, like, in your tool belt more. We will I know you're planning to go over editing next week, right?
Yes, some editing stuff as well. I did have a question, which was, I was wondering if how we now that we've made these videos, how we take them out of these specialized softwares and share them with people.
Right. We need to import our video projects.
Right. Maybe we don't go over like how to put them on YouTube and stuff, but like how to just at least save them as a normal video file.
Yes. Thank you so much. So first, let's go to. I mean, we can do VN since we're here first, and this is this is a very simple process. As you can see in the right, left, or yes, in the upper right corner, you can press export there to you can choose your movies folder, and then you can choose your resolution, and 1080 is really good resolution and the most you really need most of the time. So so your file size is 178 megabytes, which is good. So you can save that. You've got a project, and now, for instance, you could put this on an SD card and or a USB and plug it into a small projector and do you can always just project on a wall and not use projection mapping software, and it's going to look great. Will the projection wrap around the object the way you want it to? Maybe. It will be less controllable, and that's cool, honestly. Like, lights, could we let's look at our images from the gallery for a minute so that we can just kind of show you an example of, for instance, if you did want to so this is an example of, no. Okay, so this is an example of something not being projection mapped and just existing in a more raw state. And that is also from the same projector. It is not projection mapped. But now we're going to find a version, an example of something that is projection mapped so that you can see how interesting. So you can see that this spherical form, this inflatable, where the hands are being projected, this has been projection mapped so that the form is not manipulated. So that's just to give you some context, that's the function of that's like a big function of what you're teaching next week.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Do you want to speak to that at all?
I'll leave most of that for next week, but yeah, just intersecting video with the real world and how you can transform space using videos like the ones we've created here today.
Yeah, I think one thing I am saying is, even with what you've learned today, you can absolutely take these exported videos and you can take these videos and put them on a projector right now and project them onto a surface. But they won't wrap around the surface in the same way. So I just wanted to kind of help people understand. So this is not projection mapped, and this is a series of green screens. I see your question, Vicky, about animation. And I think that this is like, when does it become animation and when is it not animation? Like, I think video and animation are so closely related, and it's really just a matter of like what are our levels of like what is the level of control you want to have. You know, like, do you want to do something frame by frame, or are you animating the video on your own using a performance? We can talk more about animation in a minute here, which is its own art form, and you know, it's its own format of making work. But I guess I'm also kind of like a little bit teasing out like where does it begin and where does it end. um let's export our other video, and then we can get to so we're going to go to DaVinci Resolve, and we're going to go to our timeline, and then we're going to deliver our results. Okay, so we want to make sure that everything is the way we want it before our resolution is the way we want it, that we're going to not export the audio. We just want the video. And yep, let's title file. Okay, great. Yes. Okay, so you it's the render. Now the video is rendering. So before, okay, so right, you actually have to shoot. No, you have to render your video before you export, which is so we're rendering the video, and I'm curious, as we're rendering the video and as we're exporting, I'm curious. So we have a question from Vicky. Oh, here, wait. Let's bring our videos back on here. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hi. Yeah. So, question from Vicky Tomayko. Amazing. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how one might use animation as a starting point. Is there an animation app that you would recommend?
Well, animation, if you're talking about sort of frame by frame, stop motion-y kind of animation, or that has not only like an app, but sort of you sort of want to approach it like as a special camera type of tool, really. And that could be either an app on a smartphone, because you can do like onion skinning, where you're showing the previous frame you just shot on top of as an overlay, similar to the overlays we were making in these videos, but it's a live overlay over the camera before you take the next frame, so you can see what's changed between the frames, right? So there's a special tool for that kind of animation. Hand-drawn animation, you're talking probably about something different, a different type of camera process that's I'm less familiar with. But in any case, once you some digital cameras have that capacity built in too to do the onion skinning, and so they'll have a stop motion animation mode, so then you have a bunch of images, and then you want to turn those into a video. And my favorite way to do that actually is just to take an editor like DaVinci. I haven't actually done it in DaVinci. I've done it in Final Cut Pro, but they're very similar, so I'm sure DaVinci can also do it. You just actually import all the images, drop them all onto the timeline, set them all to be 1 frame long in a batch, and then you have complete control over whether you want to delete frames because maybe you made a mistake or maybe you have some duplicates. You can color correct each frame individually if one was had different lighting for some reason, or the camera did something different, and then export that as a video, and then it's just like any other video.
Yeah, and
then you can bring it into the things like what we were doing today as a layer.
And the playful way I was musing about the idea of like, when does it become animation and when is it not animation, is a similar musing that I might have in terms of when is it a performance and when isn't it a performance. Am I animating an object just by moving this object? I mean, there's an element of transformation that happens. There's an element of animation that happens. And yeah, I'm just interested in when that begins and when that ends. And so yeah, just also to bring your question into the lens of this practice, I wanted to also address that idea. So great.
It's done.
Okay, we've got a finished video piece. Finished with you. Well, thanks so much for being here with us tonight. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. Does anyone have any questions, any more burning video questions in terms of your making, your like how you process video, and any thoughts, questions, feelings about images?
I think there was an earlier question about the software. Is this software free, and is this the software you normally use?
Oh, yes, this software is all free. Well, I mean, there are certain aspects of it that, there are paid aspects of both of it. I mean, paid aspects as in there are certain limitations that you don't have access to absolutely everything in the free version. But there's access to so much in this free version. I'm really impressed by DaVinci Resolve. I have access to using Final Cut Pro, and I like Final Cut Pro. So I oftentimes am using Final Cut Pro, but I also like DaVinci Resolve and use it for projects pretty frequently. So I think both are really great. It's an awesome free option. VN is I think it's a really good free option in terms of, it's definitely the best free option that works for Androids or Mac. And
iOS. It works on pretty much everything. And the free version is very capable. There's just a few limitations. One of the limitations is that you can only have 100 projects, and you can't share your original project files or like move them to other places to get more projects available unless you pay their subscription. So there is that sort of limitation to it, but they don't limit the export at all, so you can export all your finished videos and just delete the projects when you run out. But it's a really great, it's actually amazingly capable for a mostly free thing on the phone.
Well, And thank you, Sandra Rose Hart, for joining us. I'm so glad that you liked the workshop. Yay! Yeah, I just wanted to respond to your comment as well. I see you. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was really excited to bring a VN demo to this workshop because I think that CapCut is challenging, and I know that a lot of people use CapCut. Again, you lose rights to your footage and to your video, and that's I don't want that for people. I don't want that for artists, and yeah, I think that that's a great way for us to stay in better control of what we produce. So yeah, lots of care. I hope you can join us for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do some live streaming tomorrow. Hey.
Yeah, our installation is open tomorrow, 5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 9 p.m.
5 to 9,
Originally,
yes,
yesterday was going to be our closing, and we were invited to stay for 2 more weeks. So thank you very much, Provincetown Community Television, for having us. Thank you, MotionWorks Gallery, for having us for another 2 weeks. We're really excited to get to stay and continue to experiment making video, and I'm so happy to hear that. And thanks for receiving this workshop. I'm really glad that that we were able to give this workshop, and please join us next week. It'll be a new link. We'll send a new link out and make sure that everyone gets it. So yay, thanks for joining us. If you want to stay on our email list, email or drop your email in the chat, please. Feel free. Or if that feels too public, feel free to email us at Innerworkings. Here, let's type it somewhere on the screen. We'll write the email that you can write us to. So, yeah, feel free to drop us a line here if you want to stay up on our performances that are happening. We're likely to, yeah.
Whoop.
Ooh.
Wrong one.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, join us next week. Join us tomorrow. Join us. Yeah, feel free to stay in touch. Also, our Instagram is InnerWorkings.projects. Okay, so the best place to join the mailing list is if you want to, you can email us there, or if you want to, you can direct message us your email. If you email us, we'll put you on the email list. Or if you want to message us, we'll do the same. Either way works. Best place is to email. The email address. Yay. Thank you. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Yeah, I see as I know we have some more viewers, any last questions about video editing? I guess we could go and oopsie. Okay. Here, let's watch our final video one more time, and we're gonna hang out with the peeps. Okay, great. Thanks, Sandra. So here we are all together watching this video that we made together. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying the work that we all got to make together here. Thanks for joining us. I know we did pre-shoot our video, and actually, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about the process of collecting video. Thanks. It's one of those things where it's an ongoing practice. Think about it almost like I invite you to think about it like a daily meditation, almost. Like because as you find yourself collecting video, you might find that there's a pause that you're taking in your day, because that as you become a more and more experienced editor, you find that you need at least 20 seconds to make sense of so that people can read what you're filming. So even if you're looping a video or slowing it way down, you need enough information so that you can really do that. So and some other things you want to watch, how much you're zooming in on an image versus how because you do lose quality when you do that. You can also zoom in as you're editing, and sometimes you'll actually get a higher quality shot that way. So that's another thing. You also want to be mindful about your how much you're moving the camera, how much you're rotating while you're taking the footage, because if you are laying textures over top of each other, you want to be mindful about not making people too dizzy, if it's depending on what you're using the video for. But I've definitely come to understand that you want to be mindful about the speed at which you're playing video back for people, so that nobody feels motion sick. An actual concern, or flashing lights are a big concern too. And I try to be mindful about if there are flashing lights and if the video creates rapid flashing lights, to always either slow things down, make that not happen, or provide good like trigger warnings for people so that people can choose not to experience the work because it's potentially dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, but as you see different forms that you want to collect, whether this is a frog in a pond, or I was really interested in this lace that I found in someone leaving their house in Louisiana. I found this lace and I realized that just the history behind this lace, I could just feel it, and I could feel the person who had spent time crafting this textile with their hands. And so I was interested in using that textile to talk about both our ancestors and the people who have come before us in different ways. So yeah, I think that using physical materials in performances can feel really interesting in that way for me, and create like a lot of layers of meaning to the work. And sometimes where I'm shooting also create a lot of different layers of meaning. There are like, currently we're looking at a layer from New Orleans, a layer from Pittsburgh, a layer from Provincetown, and a layer from Spain. And like they're all overlaid on top of each other, and there's a lot of interesting stuff kind of like uncovering in that. And like I think that's just kind of an interesting quality as well. Yeah. But I invite you to do what your heart feels drawn to, please, always. Do what your heart feels drawn to, and yeah, I invite you to go out there and create. And if you have questions, feel free to email us. You are absolutely welcome to send us an email. And yeah, if you got video questions or beyond, questions about the exhibition, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just that it's a lot of fun. Thanks, Jean.
Thanks, Arvid. Thanks so much for your help on this, and yay! So yeah, so we'll be doing our live streams on YouTube. I'm so grateful that Arvid's got enough viewers on. One last thing, please follow Arvid on YouTube so that we can keep doing stuff like this. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, please follow Arvid on YouTube. Also, welcome to follow me on YouTube also. H. Jean Thompson on YouTube. So yeah, follow us on YouTube. Yay! More followers means you can do more things with live streaming. So that's good. So okay.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks
Bye.
again. Bye.